Today, I'm going to be discussing what is going on astrologically for the week of November 19th through the 25th of November. We're moving into freedom and expansive Sagittarius, and we're talking about liberating the mind. But more on that later. Let's discuss what is occurring on November 20th as we enter the week on Monday. So, Monday, November 20th. On this day, there is an exact conjunction of the Sun and Mars, which is actually exact on the 18th. However, the energy is still really prevalent around this time. So this gives us an abundance of energy. The drive, the stamina to go after what we want. So you can really take advantage of the energy that is given to you by this particular conjunction. So Mars is the planet of energy. It's the planet of outward assertive drive. And it's really how we use our energy at this time. So we can find constructive ways to use the energy. Working out, guessing on a game, whatever it is. How we are using our energy constructively and productively is super important here. This is also great for exercising, getting in touch with the physical body, grounding into your body, and really doing what your body says that it wants at a particular moment in time. But also this has to do with doing things where we can really feel alive in our bodies. So the energy might be temperamental and explosive. We may feel more aggressive, more angry, or more irritated. So we need to channel this sort of angst that we have into something productive. So we could find ourselves being very direct and honest at this time. And while it's good to be direct in terms of what we want, in terms of saying what we want and going after our desires, we need to be careful of what's coming out of our mouths, and is it nice, or is it mean, or is it kind, or is it uncalled for, or our actions being very direct and straightforward without bulldozing or severing any relationship ties in any way, shape, or form. There's always this polarity point between Aries, which is ruled by Mars, the planet of assertion and war, and the sign opposite to Aries, which is Libra, which is ruled by Venus, which wants to harmonize and bring people together, and it's the planet of peace and love and beauty. And Libra is a sign of balance and justice and equality and getting along with others. So the polarity point is important to remember on this particular day. If you're someone who is on the side of the spectrum, which is super Aries, and you may fall into the shadow side of Aries, which may be well, unhealthy, negative selfishness, but it depends upon who you are. If you're somebody who is more shy, more introverted, this may be a good transit for you to get out there and speak your mind and speak your truth and take action on what you want. So this is great for taking the initiative, initiating an action, initiating a project, starting something new and going after it. And so you may feel during this time, or it may be a good time to, to fight for your desires. But you may find yourself on the shadow side of the spectrum reacting to something without remembering to respond to it, without putting a filter to our words, and without putting that silver screen which says, let's be mature about this in a spiritual way, of course. And, we need to be mindful that we're not reacting or that we're not going on the attack mode of anything. And so this is great for focusing on a goal, going after that goal, and really going after what you're passionate about. So you may find that you may act on impulse. You may jump into something without thinking about the consequences, where we can exercise our impulse in the right environment, in the right way, at the right time, but not in a destructive, negative, and domineering way to the point of being egoic and really pushing people away from our lives. So we need to be mindful of just jumping into something, just saying something without thinking about it, just starting something without thinking about the consequences or the steps involved, or what the end results will be, or what is going to come out of what I am doing, or the kind of complications that you could get into with whatever you want. And so being mindful of any anger or rage that comes up during this time is super duper important. Now, the other thing that's occurring on November 20th is we have the Sun in a sextile with Pluto. So the Sun is at the very end of Scorpio. Now it's nearing the last degree, or the anaretic degree of Scorpio, and Pluto is nearing the anaretic degree of Capricorn. So the Sun sextile Pluto energy, we can use a lot of willpower with this. We can focus our energy in our direction, and when we focus something, we put energy to it, we manifest it through our focus. So what do we want to focus on? That's really, really important. What do we want to grow in our garden? Do we want a lot of weeds to grow, or do we want a lot of positive things to come out of what we're focusing on? Because when we focus on something negative, then it grows and expands, and the same goes for something positive. So what are we going to use our life force energy, and what are we going to direct it towards? That is super duper important to bear in mind. And so willpower is yet another theme with this sextile. So we have a strong willpower towards going after what we desire. There may be some obsessive compulsive tendencies that can actually be beneficial because it is a positive aspect between the Sun and Pluto that is exact on November 20th. Obsessive compulsive tendencies that can help you reach the goals that you desire. And so any kind of letting go of what does not serve you, what doesn't work for you, what is something that doesn't work for you, that this would be a good transit to release that from your life and move on a new path, where you're going on a path of what does work for you, what will work for you, what does serve you, what is for the highest good of all and yourself. What would love do, or what would your higher self do in that kind of situation, in that circumstance? So if there's something, a way of being, a habit pattern, something physical that is not serving you, it may be a job or relationship, then let that go, or try to make a change in that area of your life, so that it does fulfill you and bring peace and meaning to your life. So we need to be also open to growth and transformation at this time, of drawing a line in the sand and saying, no, I made my decision. I'm not going to change my voice. I am not going to tolerate this anymore. I am going to be willing to transform, and I'm going to be willing to change and let go what doesn't work for me. And I'm also going to be willing to grow and evolve as a spiritual being living a human experience. And so this sextile is also a great day for focusing on a goal and achieving it. So we can really use a lot of focus and determination on this particular day and around this particular time to focus on a goal and achieve it. And I will be connecting with somebody on this day who is very sort of Mars, Saturn. Mars is energy and it's, action and it's drive, and Saturn is commitment, hard work. You're putting a lot of discipline in this direction. And so this person that I'm going to be seeing on this day is someone who believes in structure, in routine, in doing what is in the best interest of your mental and bodily health. So meeting, strong people who are direct, and who are Mars Saturn like might be, a possibility. You may encounter these people, or it's really important to take note of and be very attuned to those type of areas or Martian, direct people in your life. So that may be something to think about and, mull over. So then we move on to November 21st, and yet again, we have another aspect on this day that deals with commitment. It talks about going after your goals, and that is an exact sextile between Mars and Pluto, because Mars and the Sun are at the very end of Scorpio, and they're going to be moving on actually this week. Mars is going to move into Sagittarius. The Sun's going to move into Sagittarius as well. So Mars sextile Pluto. Yet again, really use this week or the early part of this week to get something done, to accomplish tasks and see them through to completion. This is physical energy. This deals with energy in the physical body and in the physical world. We're having a lot of drive and determination, maybe assets that you want to remember and keep in mind when it comes to achieving your goals. And when it comes to achieving your goals, you may have energy inside of you or the desire to take action that comes from your gut. And so that may be something that, taking action based off of a feeling in your gut, like I need to take action on this thing. This feels like the thing to take action on. So take action on that thing. On November 22nd, the sun moves out of Scorpio and it moves into Sagittarius. So now we're thinking about Sagittarius season. The sun will be in Sag until December 21st. So this is a time to get out into the world, to expand your horizons, to travel places, to indulge, because Sagittarius is a very indulgent energy. It's ruled by Jupiter, the planet of extremes, and indulging. So you may feel like, indulging in, a lot of foods or books or, learning information, physical experiences, because Sagittarius wants to make the most of this life, because there's a philosophical truth with Sagittarian energy that we only have one life. So we might as well make the absolute most of it, because we go through all of this. We do all of these things in our life. We have all these experiences, and we learn so much and we gather so much wisdom, and then we fade away like dust. And so that's the Sagittarian philosophy. You might as well enjoy yourself, and you might as well enjoy the experience of living and being in a body and enjoying life while you have it. So, you might as well indulge and, consider life like a bowl of cherries. And I am referring to a video on Deborah Silverman, Astrology. She has a little video on the sign of Sagittarius, and it's like a little video where she's acting out the sign, and so she makes that point. So this is great for expansion and growth, be it reading a new book or reading a book on a topic that you're interested in that you don't know much about. This can be traveling to a new place. This can be even going to a new restaurant. Anything that is new that moves you out of what you already know, out of the rut that you're already in. If you're in a rut, this is a great season to get out of the rut, to expand your horizons, and to take on new adventures, to do something that you've never done, to learn about something that you haven't learned about before. So that is definitely something. So nurturing our faith, establishing our connection to a higher power, really being true to our religion or spiritual practices that may be true for us, getting in touch with our spiritual destiny that may be true for us, doing the things that we feel are spiritually true and right for us is super important. So choosing our own spiritual truth and moving on that particular path is what this season is all about. The sun in Sagittarius. And so Sagittarius also corresponds to our philosophical outlook on the world, how we view life and how we view the world. And we may need to update that if our philosophy is negative or pessimistic. And so Sagittarius deals with higher knowledge and higher education. So it's a great season to take some classes, to explore some, higher learnings, some, philosophical truths, maybe studying philosophy. It may be becoming more philosophical, or it may be learning about like ancient history or the different, ancient philosophers or something like that, and looking into philosophy and considering our philosophy on life. Okay, so now on Thanksgiving, we have on American Thanksgiving, which is a Thursday, which is interesting. And it may be an aspect that might be something that might be positive for Thanksgiving as an indulgent holiday where we're eating a lot of rich food and all of that. It is on November 23rd that the sun makes an exact square to Saturn at the very beginning of Pisces. And Saturn's been in Pisces since March of 2023, which has been about looking at our boundaries and looking at our intuition and our empathy and compassion. And I discuss all of that in my video on Saturn in Pisces, which I have up here on my channel. And if I remember to do so, I will link it below in the description. But so the sun squares Saturn, the sun in very early degree Sagittarius, and Saturn in early degree Pisces. So Sagittarius and Pisces are both mutable signs. They're not opposite each other, so they square one another. And squares indicate tension and resistance and difficulty. But it's ultimately for our highest good because we use that tension to release something that doesn't work for us or make a change in our life or put in a lot of hard work to evolve. in some way or another. And so this is a restrictive day, when the sun is square Saturn. And on May 28th of this year, we had the same square. So you can think back to what was going on at and around that time and the things that came up for you at that time. But so this might be the feeling of the burden of responsibilities that you need to do, and there might be restrictions, limitations that you feel that you have to put in a lot of hard work and be limited. So this is a great time to get something done, to use this energy productively and put the hard work in that needs to be done, and not to procrastinate on it and not to put it aside, because the more you do that, the worse it'll be for you, but to put in the hard work and to be responsible and to roll up your sleeves, pull up your bootstraps, and get the thing done and check it off your list. So being productive, getting something done this week is a great time. The theme that's really very prevalent this week is going after your desires, getting something done. That is very prevalent this week. You may feel restricted by authority figures. That might be an issue, like a father or somebody else. So that might be a possibility with the energy of the square. So it's really important to get our priorities straight. What is most important to us? What is most valuable to us? And what are we really willing to put in most time and energy into to see as a physical manifestation in our environment or in our world? So figuring out what's most important to us and putting in the hard work and accomplishing what we need to get done. So then on November 24th, we have Mars, which enters Sagittarius, and Mars is going to be in Sagittarius until January 4th. So on November 24th, Mars leaves Scorpio and enters Sagittarius. And on January 4th, Mars leaves Sagittarius and moves on to Capricorn. And we'll talk about what that's all about when we get further down to January 4th, around that time. But with Mars in Sagittarius, and Mars is the planet of action, assertion, drive, it's the planet of war, it's a red planet, it rules over energy and things like that. So we are more motivated by our ideals at this time. We may feel more adventurous, or like going on adventurous traveling, freedom. We might feel like we want to expand and grow our horizons more. And we may feel more optimism. Like there's so much more to discover, there's so much more to experience and do and learn and take on in this life. So our routines might make us restless at this time when Mars is in Sagittarius. We might want to get out of our routines. We might want to change up our routines or do things spontaneously. Getting out of our rut and structure and do new things that we've never done before. Stretch yourself in ways that we haven't stretched ourselves before. Read a book about a topic that we don't know much about, and etc. So could be a great transit for exploring new places and really being our free selves, really cutting ourselves off from that which limits us, and really moving in the direction that is in alignment with our truth and being our free self and expanding who we are and going on that journey of self-discovery. But we also need to remember not to overdo it at this particular time, not overindulging, not, overindulging in freedom, whatever it is, not, just not going over the top with how much we're eating or how much, we're studying or doing whatever. Moderation is key. So then on November 25th, we have a couple things going on. Mercury enters the pre-shadow phase of its retrograde season. Mercury in Sagittarius. I'll do a whole nother video about that Mercury retrograde. On November 21st, I'll film and publish that video. So that'll be up on my channel for you to watch, to get some insight and get some information and get a heads up on what that Mercury retrograde from December 13th to January 1st of next year is going to be about, and over the whole retrograde period, from the pre-shadow, retrograde phase, and post-shadow of it. So on November 25th, Mars in very early degree Sagittarius is squaring Saturn. So this is a transit where we want to think about choosing to do the tasks that are closest to home, or that are the things that are most important to us, most valuable to us to achieve. It may not be the best for initiating new things. There may be limitations from bosses, fathers, or other authority figures that we may feel. It may be harder to express ourselves or express our passions, or we feel like we're limited in our self-expression and limited limited in going after what we desire. So there may be some restrictions to you fighting for what you want and need. That may be a case. And this square isn't necessarily about not going after your desires, but focusing on what you already have, focusing on what's available to you, what you've already achieved, and what is already there for you in your physical environment, and counting your blessings and being satisfied, really taking some time to reflect on that. Reflect on how far you've come and what you already own. You may feel like things are moving fast enough or that you're not getting things done quick enough. And it's important to pace yourself. Knowing when to speed something up and slowing something down. Or you may have a lot of energy that you feel like you can't completely get that out of your system. So that's also something important to keep in mind with this square. So that is all that I have to say on the astrology for next week. I'm filming this video ahead because I'm going to be at my grandparents' this weekend. So the weekend of November 18th and 19th, Saturday and Sunday. So I'm filming this video on November 17th. So that's all I have to say. Bye for now, everyone.